Hey everybody. So instead of having like a normal presentation with me standing in front of the class with a PowerPoint and just talking to you guys, I decided to go along with the theme of this class. And since we've watched a bunch of documentaries, uh, I just make one of my own. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. And Dr. Bayless gives me an A. So clap at the end. So in 2011, Japan had a really bad day. They had a 9.0 magnitude earthquake, which is really high. Like it only goes up to 10. So this is actually a major deal. And on top of that, right afterwards, they have a tsunami from this earthquake. And it hits the coast where Tokyo, their biggest city, is, and Fukushima, a nuclear plant. And it goes worse from there. All three parts that are supposed to keep this nuclear reactor from melting down, all three failed. The power failed. The backup generator failed. And the failsafe for the backup generator even failed. Three things failed. Yes, they had three things. Three safety measures. But is that really enough to hold back nuclear radiation? Something that could potentially destroy the entire world and everything that lives on it? Is that really worth powering some light bulbs? As you all know, I'm a social science education major and not a scientist, a social scientist. So, to explain some of the more scientific parts of what is actually happening in this nuclear meltdown that we have, I may or may not have stolen a video from YouTube. So, enjoy this short little bit.
Is what a nuclear reactor looks like. The uranium inside the fuel rod inside the reactor undergoes nuclear fission. The rods emit heat, generating energy. Usually water cools them to maintain their temperature at 270 degrees Celsius. But if the cooling fails, the temperature could rise to over 1200 degrees. This temperature is hot enough to melt the fuel rods. When the earthquake hit, the first safety system to prevent a meltdown was activated. Control rods rose into the reactor to stop the nuclear fission. As planned, the reactor stopped operating. But the fuel rods were still hot. Water should have been circulated to cool them down. However, this didn't happen because of a power outage right after the quake. So the second safety system turned on. The emergency diesel power generator began spraying the rods with coolant. But an hour later, something unexpected happened. Without warning, the emergency generator stopped. Around this time, the tsunami, possibly as high as 10 meters, hit the power plant. Experts think this is what caused the generator to fail. Now, the third safety system started operating. It converts steam traveling through the pipes into water. It cools the rods, but the water level went down, and the temperature continued to rise. All three safety measures had failed.
I mean, yeah, it's clean when it works, but when it doesn't, it kills everybody. So is that really a good trade-off? A few months after the a few months after the
Like the ongoing leakage of radiation from the Fukushima nuclear plant, there's actually a little something else heading our way. Well, apparently it's not so little. A huge mass of debris, allegedly the size of Texas, is floating just northeast of the Hawaiian Islands. The NOAA is not only tracking radiation, but also the remnants of the tsunami debris. Scientists fear that this huge mass of debris might arrive all at once. This graph depicts the relative size of the mass and shows its proximity to the left coast. First debris from the disaster apparently hit the shore of California in April this year. Everything from a soccer ball to boats are being found, including this fishing vessel that made a very eerie voyage to the Gulf of Alaska before it finally sank. It's estimated that originally 5 million tons of debris was swallowed by the ocean back in March 2011. Scientists say about 70% of that sank, but the rest is dispersing over a huge footprint between Alaska and the Philippines. It's kind of hard to believe there isn't a satellite image of this huge mass, but I guess if it's going to bump into the United States, I'm sure one will pop up at some point. As always, thanks for watching our videos. Like, share, subscribe, and check out our channel where
America is one of those countries that runs off nuclear energy. Not exclusively, but we have a lot of nuclear power plants. And is that a good thing? In my opinion, not really. What happens when one of ours fails? What happens when one of ours is attacked? We are America. A lot of people don't like us. What if the next terrorist attack is on a nuclear power plant on the East Coast? What happens when it actually explodes? When it explodes and takes out the next one, and that explodes, and that takes out the next one, and that explodes, and eventually all the way to the Rockies is going to be a nuclear pit of waste. God, these squirrels are big. My dog is useless. It won't eat a squirrel for nothing. Winnie, come here. I guess not. So what happened in Chernobyl? What if the next terrorist attack is in one of